You have been walking through your days like someone searching for keys in a house that was never yours. There is a weight you carry that has no name, a longing that speaks in whispers you pretend not to hear. Tonight, the world grows quiet enough for you to listen. The streetlights outside your window cast shadows that dance like memories you thought you had forgotten. Each flicker holds a story. Each gentle sway of light reveals something you buried long ago. You're tired of pretending that everything is fine, tired of wearing masks that cut into your skin. There is a place inside you that remembers what it felt like to be whole. Before the world taught you to split yourself into acceptable pieces. Before you learned that some parts of who you are were too much, too little, too wrong for the light of day. Tonight, you are invited to meet those parts again. Your breath slows as you settle into this moment. The day's noise fades like distant traffic, leaving only the sound of your heart beating its ancient rhythm. This is the sound that has carried you through every joy and sorrow, every triumph and defeat. It knows things your mind has forgotten. In the stillness, something stirs. Not quite memory, not quite dream. It is the feeling of being very young and believing that the world was full of magic, before you learned to be practical, before you discovered that wonder was something to outgrow. You remember now how it felt to see faces in clouds, to believe that trees had secrets to share, how the space under your bed could hold entire universes, and how darkness was not empty but full of possibilities waiting to unfold. Somewhere along the way, you were taught to close those eyes that see beyond the surface. You were told that imagination was childish, that sensitivity was weakness, that the deep well of feeling inside you was too much for others to handle, so you learned to make yourself smaller. You pushed down the parts that felt too big, too wild, too real. You built walls around your tenderness and called it growing up. You silenced the voice that knew your worth and listened instead to the ones that counted your flaws. But tonight, in this gentle darkness, those silenced parts of you are stirring. They have been waiting patiently behind closed doors, holding vigil for the moment when you would be ready to remember. They never stopped believing in your return. The child you were still lives in the corners of your dreams, the one who laughed easily, who trusted deeply, who believed in magic and second chances. This child has been calling to you through every moment of longing, every surge of creativity, every impulse to reach out with love. You can hear that voice now, can't you? Soft and sure, speaking truths your adult mind has forgotten. It tells you that you're not broken, only buried, that beneath all the layers of protection and pretense, your original self remains untouched and whole. This is the voice that knows your real name, not the one written on documents or called out in rooms full of strangers, but the name your soul recognized before you took your first breath, the name that connects you to the stars, to the earth, to the endless web of life that holds us all. As you listen, the walls around your heart begin to soften, not breaking, but breathing. Like morning mist that dissolves in gentle sunlight, the barriers you built for protection reveal themselves as veils that were always meant to be temporary. You feel it now, don't you? The tender place where all your wounds have been carefully tended by unseen hands. The part of you that never stopped believing in love, even when love felt impossible, even when the world felt too harsh, too cold, too indifferent to hold your dreams. This tender place is not your weakness. It is your strength. It is the proof that despite everything that tried to harden you, your capacity for feeling remains infinite. Despite all the reasons you have been given to close your heart, it keeps choosing to open. In this moment of recognition, something shifts. The shame you have carried about being too sensitive, too emotional, too much begins to lighten. You see now that these qualities are not burdens but gifts. They are the source of your compassion, your creativity, your ability to touch other hearts with healing. The tears that come so easily are not signs of fragility, but evidence of your courage to feel fully in a world that often rewards numbness. The love you give so freely is not naivety, but wisdom beyond measure. Your empathy is not your weakness, but your superpower. You begin to understand that the parts of yourself you have been most ashamed of are actually the keys to your freedom. The intensity you tried to dim is the very fire that lights your purpose. The vulnerability you tried to armor is the bridge that connects you to others. There is a story you have been telling yourself about who you are. A story written by voices that never knew your heart, shaped by expectations that never fit your soul. Tonight, you're invited to put down that story and remember the truth. The truth is that you came into this world as a perfect expression of something the universe needed. Your unique combination of light and shadow, strength and tenderness, fire and water, was not an accident but a divine intention. You're not a mistake that needs correcting, but a masterpiece in progress. Every experience that broke you also broke you open. Every loss that seemed to diminish you actually expanded your capacity for love. Every moment of darkness became fertile ground for a deeper understanding of light. You're not behind schedule in your healing. You're not failing at being human. You're exactly where you need to be, learning exactly what you need to learn, becoming exactly who you are meant to become. The journey has been harder than you imagined it would be. You have walked through valleys of despair and climbed mountains of grief. You have wrestled with demons that wore familiar faces and battled dragons that breathed doubt instead of fire. But look at you now, still breathing, still hoping, still reaching toward love despite every reason you have been given to choose fear. Your mere presence here is testimony to a strength you do not even recognize you possess. In the quiet of this night, you can feel the presence of everyone who has ever loved you. Not just the love that was spoken aloud, but the silent love that moved through glances and gestures, through presence and prayers. This love has been weaving itself into your being, creating a foundation stronger than any storm. You're held by this love even when you feel most alone. You're supported by this love even when you stumble. You are worthy of this love not because of what you have accomplished, but because of who you are in your essence. There is a light in you that has never been extinguished. It may have been covered by clouds of confusion or hidden beneath the layers of protection, but it has never stopped shining. This light is your connection to something greater than yourself, your reminder that you belong to the same source that creates stars and sunsets. This light knows no shame. It does not judge your mistakes or catalogue your failures. It simply shines, waiting for you to remember its presence and let it illuminate the path ahead. It is the part of you that knows you are enough exactly as you are. As you rest in this knowing, you feel your nervous system beginning to settle. The constant vigilance you have maintained starts to soften. For perhaps the first time in a long time, you allow yourself to truly relax, to stop scanning for danger and start sensing for beauty. The world feels different from this place of acceptance. Colours seem more vivid, sounds more musical, sensations more rich. You remember what it felt like to experience life directly, without the filter of fear or the armour of protection. This is how you were meant to live. Not guarded and cautious, but open and curious. Not shrinking from life's intensity, but dancing with it. Not protecting yourself from feeling, but celebrating your capacity to feel deeply. You see now that sensitivity is not a flaw, but a gift. It allows you to notice beauty that others miss, to offer comfort that others cannot give, to create art that touches souls and builds bridges between hearts. Your emotions are not your enemies, but your allies. They are the messengers that carry wisdom from the depths of your being to the surface of your awareness. They tell you what matters, what hurts, what heals, what calls to your soul. The tears you have shed were not signs of weakness, but evidence of your humanity. Each one carried away some piece of pain, creating space for more joy. Each one watered the seeds of compassion that now bloom in your heart. The anger you have felt was not your failure, but your power. It was the part of you that knew you deserved better, that refused to accept less than love, that stood guard over your values even when they were threatened. Your fear was not your cowardice, but your intelligence. It kept you safe when safety was needed, prepared you for challenges you had to face, reminded you that some things are precious enough to protect. Even your sadness has been your teacher. It showed you the depth of your love, the breadth of your caring, the height of your hopes. It connected you to the suffering of others and opened pathways for healing that joy alone could never create. All of these emotions, all of these experiences, all of these parts of yourself that you have judged and rejected are actually facets of a single, brilliant jewel. They are not separate fragments but integrated aspects of your wholeness. When you stop fighting against yourself and start embracing all that you are, something miraculous happens. The energy you are using to maintain internal conflict becomes available for creation. The attention you are giving to self-criticism transforms into self-compassion. You begin to see yourself with the same kindness you would offer a dear friend. You speak to yourself with the same gentleness you would use with a frightened child. You treat your heart with the same care you would give to something precious and irreplaceable. This is not self-indulgence, but self-respect. This is not narcissism, but necessary love. You cannot give what you do not have, cannot offer from an empty well, cannot love others more than you love yourself without eventually burning out. The love you cultivate for yourself becomes the foundation for all other love. It teaches you what healthy love looks like, how it feels, how it moves through your life. It becomes the standard against which you measure all relationships. From this place of self-love, you begin to attract different people into your life. Those who can match your energy, who celebrate rather than dim your light, who see your sensitivity as strength and your depth as treasure. You release those who need you to be smaller to feel bigger. You step away from relationships that require you to deny parts of yourself to maintain connection. You honor your own worth by surrounding yourself with those who recognize it. This is not selfish, but essential. You're not responsible for managing others' insecurities at the expense of your own authenticity. You're not here to shrink so others can expand. You're here to shine so others remember they can shine too. As you embrace this truth, you feel a shift in your body. Muscles that have been tense for years begin to release. Breath that has been shallow starts to deepen. The constant background noise of anxiety begins to quiet. Your nervous system recognizes safety. Not the temporary safety of hiding behind walls, but the lasting safety of being at home in your own skin. The safety of knowing that whatever comes, you have the strength and wisdom to meet it. This is the gift of self-acceptance. It does not mean you stop growing or learning or changing. It means you stop hating yourself for being human. It means you stop treating your imperfections as evidence of your unworthiness. Growth happens naturally when it is not driven by self-rejection. Like a plant that flourishes when given proper care, you bloom when you stop poisoning your roots with criticism and start nourishing them with compassion. You begin to see your life as a work of art in progress rather than a test you are failing. Each experience adds color to the canvas. Each challenge creates depth and texture. Each joy brings light and illumination. The mistakes you made become part of the beauty rather than flaws to hide. They show your humanity, your willingness to risk, your courage to try even when success was not guaranteed. They are proof that you have lived rather than merely existed. Your scars become sources of strength rather than symbols of damage. They mark places where you broke and healed, where you fell and rose again, where life carved you into something more beautiful than before. Every heartbreak opened your heart wider. Every loss taught you what truly matters. Every moment of despair was followed by a dawn you could not have imagined in the darkness. You see now that your story is not one of failure but of resilience, not of weakness but of incredible strength, not of brokenness but of the courage to keep believing in wholeness even when it felt impossible. In this recognition, something ancient within you awakens. It is the part of you that has always known your worth, that never doubted your belonging, that has been waiting patiently for you to remember what it has never forgotten. This is the voice that spoke to you as a child when you felt scared and alone, the presence that comforted you in your darkest hours, the love that held you when you could not hold yourself. It has many names in many traditions, but tonight it is simply the deepest truth of who you are. It is the place where you have never been separate from love, never been apart from the source of all life, never been anything less than enough. From this place, you understand that healing is not about fixing what is broken, but about remembering what was never actually damaged. Your essence remains perfect even when your experience feels chaotic. Your worth remains constant even when your confidence wavers. You're like a diamond that has been covered with mud. The cleaning process is not about creating value, but about revealing the treasure that was always there. Every moment of self-compassion wipes away another layer of false belief. Every act of self-love polishes another facet of your brilliance. The journey of returning to yourself is not about becoming someone new, but about uncovering who you have always been. Beneath the roles you play, the masks you wear, the stories you tell about yourself, there is a you that is unchanging and unchangeable. This is the you that existed before you learned to doubt yourself. The you that will remain long after all your current worries fade. The you that connects you to every other human who has ever lived and loved and struggled and hoped. Tonight, you are invited to rest in this truth, to let it sink into your bones and settle into your cells, to allow it to become not just something you think, but something you know in the deepest way possible. You are worthy of love not because of what you do, but because of who you are. You belong here not because you have earned your place, but because your existence is itself proof of your right to be. You matter not because of your accomplishments, but because your very being adds something irreplaceable to the world. As these truths take root in your awareness, you feel a peace you may not have experienced in years. It is not the temporary calm that comes from avoiding problems, but the deep serenity that emerges from accepting yourself completely. This peace is your birthright. It was there when you took your first breath, and it will be there when you take your last. It is the still point around which all of life's storms revolve, the center that holds when everything else feels like it is falling apart. In this peace, you remember what it feels like to be enough, not striving to become enough, not working to prove you are enough, but simply resting in the knowledge that you have always been enough. This is the gift that no one can give you but yourself. The recognition that you are not a problem to be solved, but a mystery to be honored. Not a project to be completed, but a journey to be savored. Your healing does not depend on anyone else's understanding. Your worth does not require anyone else's validation. Your light does not need anyone else's permission to shine. You are sovereign in your own life. You are the author of your own story. You are the artist of your own becoming. As you settle deeper into this knowing, you feel your breath becoming even more relaxed. Each exhale releases another layer of tension you did not know you were carrying. Each inhale draws in more of the peace that is your natural state. Your body begins to feel like home again, not a burden to carry or a problem to fix, but a sacred vessel that has carried you through every challenge and blessing. A wise companion that knows how to heal itself when given love and attention. You place your hand on your heart and feel the steady rhythm that has been with you since before you were born. This heartbeat is the drumbeat of your existence, the percussion section in the symphony of your life. It has never missed a beat out of worry. It has never skipped from fear. It simply does what it was created to do moment by moment, breath by breath, trusting in the intelligence of life itself. Your heart knows something your mind often forgets. It knows that love is stronger than fear, that connection is more powerful than separation, that hope is more real than despair. Tonight, you are invited to trust your heart's wisdom, to let it guide you back to the truth of who you are, to allow its steady rhythm to remind you that you are held by something greater than your understanding. In the soft darkness of this moment, you become aware of a presence, not visible to the eye, but felt in the deepest chambers of your being. It is the presence of all who have walked this path before you, all who have struggled with the same questions, all who have found their way home to themselves. They are here with you now, these invisible companions, the poets who wrote about longing, the mystics who spoke of unity, the ordinary people who chose love over fear in countless small moments. Their courage becomes your courage. Their wisdom becomes your wisdom. You are not the first to feel lost and alone. You are not the first to question your worth. You are not the first to wonder if healing is possible. Countless souls have walked this path and found their way through. Their footsteps create a trail you can follow. Among these companions is a figure whose voice has echoed through generations, offering words that illuminate the journey of becoming whole. Carl Jung spent his life exploring the depths of the human psyche, mapping the territories of consciousness and unconsciousness that all souls must navigate. His words come to you now like a gentle hand on your shoulder, like a friend speaking truth in the darkness. Until you make the unconscious conscious, he whispered to the world, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Tonight you are making the unconscious conscious. You are bringing light to the shadowy places where your fears and doubts have been hiding. You are illuminating the parts of yourself you have kept in darkness. This is not about perfecting yourself, but about integrating all aspects of who you are. The light and the shadow, the strength and the vulnerability, the wisdom and the innocence. All of it belongs. All of it has value. All of it is you. Jung understood that wholeness comes not from rejecting our darkness, but from embracing it with consciousness and compassion. The parts of ourselves we judge most harshly often contain our greatest gifts waiting to be unwrapped. Your anger might be your passion in disguise. Your sensitivity might be your superpower in hiding. Your wounds might be the very places where your light shines brightest. When you stop running from your shadow and start dancing with it, something beautiful happens. The energy you are using to keep parts of yourself hidden becomes available for creation and connection. You begin to live from authenticity rather than performance. You speak your truth rather than what you think others want to hear. You show up as yourself rather than as who you think you should be. This authenticity is magnetic. It draws people and opportunities that resonate with your genuine frequency. It repels those who are attracted only to your mask, making space for connections that nourish your soul. Living authentically is not always easy, but it is always worth it. It requires courage to be vulnerable, strength to be genuine, faith to trust that you are enough as you are. But tonight, you remember that you have this courage. It lives in the part of you that chose to keep going when everything seemed hopeless. It shows itself in every moment you chose love over fear, connection over isolation, growth over stagnation. Your story is still being written. The chapters that brought you pain have also brought you wisdom. The experiences that seem to break you have actually been breaking you open to greater possibilities. You're not defined by your worst moments, but by your willingness to learn from them. You're not limited by your past, but empowered by your capacity to create a different future. Every new day offers you the opportunity to choose again, to choose love over fear, acceptance over rejection, possibility over limitation, to choose to see yourself through the eyes of compassion rather than criticism. As you make these choices repeatedly, they become habits. As these habits strengthen, they become your new way of being. As this new way of being takes root, it transforms not just your inner world, but your outer experience as well. You begin to notice beauty you previously overlooked. You find meaning in moments you once dismissed as ordinary. You discover magic hiding in the spaces between breaths, in the pause between heartbeats, in the silence between words. This is not about becoming someone different, but about returning to who you have always been beneath all the conditioning and protection. It is about peeling away the layers that were never truly you to reveal the jewel that has been waiting at your center. Tonight, you feel that jewel beginning to shine. Its light is gentle but persistent, warm but not overwhelming. It illuminates not just your own path, but the way for others who are still finding their way home to themselves. This is your gift to the world, not your perfection but your authenticity, not your achievements but your humanity, not your strength but your willingness to be real about your struggles and your growth. When you stop pretending to have it all figured out and start sharing your genuine journey, you give others permission to do the same. Your vulnerability becomes a bridge that others can cross from isolation to connection. Your healing becomes a light that shows others their own path to wholeness. Your self-love becomes an invitation for others to love themselves. Your peace becomes a sanctuary where others can rest and remember their own worth. This is how healing spreads in the world, not through preaching or teaching, but through being. Through showing up authentically and trusting that your genuine presence is enough to make a difference. You do not need to save anyone else. You do not need to fix what is broken in others. You simply need to continue your own journey back to wholeness, and your example will speak louder than any words. As you embrace this truth, you feel a deep relaxation settling into your being. The pressure to be more than human lifts from your shoulders. The need to prove your worth dissolves into the knowing that you are inherently valuable. Your breathing deepens even further. Your muscles release tensions you have carried for so long you forgot they were there. Your mind grows quiet, no longer needing to solve every problem or plan every detail. In this stillness, you remember what it feels like to simply be. Not doing, not striving, not becoming, just being. This is the most radical act in a world that tells you your value lies in your productivity. But tonight you remember that you are not a human doing, but a human being. Your worth is not measured by your output, but by your existence. You matter not because of what you contribute, but because you are part of the magnificent tapestry of life. Every breath you take is a gift. Every heartbeat is a celebration. Every moment of awareness is a miracle. You're not taking up space unnecessarily, but filling a unique place that no one else can occupy. The universe is more beautiful because you are in it. The world is more complete because you exist. Love is more real because you embody it in your own unique way. This is not sentiment, but truth. You are made of the same stardust that forms galaxies. You carry the same life force that grows trees and moves oceans. You are not separate from the source of all creation, but an expression of it. When you remember this connection, everything changes. You're no longer an isolated individual struggling alone, but a beloved part of an infinite whole. You are supported by the same intelligence that keeps planets in their orbits and seasons in their cycles. This intelligence flows through you as intuition, as instinct, as the inner knowing that guides you toward what serves your highest good. It has been with you all along, waiting for you to quiet the noise enough to hear its gentle guidance. Tonight, in this profound silence, you can hear it clearly. It speaks not in words, but in feelings, not in commands, but in invitations. It whispers of possibilities you have not yet imagined, of love you have not yet experienced, of joy you have not yet embodied. It reminds you that your journey is unfolding perfectly, even when it does not feel perfect, that every experience, pleasant or challenging, is contributing to your evolution, that you're exactly where you need to be to learn what you most need to learn. Trust is not about knowing how everything will work out, but about believing that it will work out in ways that serve your growth and healing. It is about releasing the need to control every detail and allowing life to surprise you with its wisdom. As you practice this trust, you feel your grip on outcomes beginning to loosen. The death grip of anxiety starts to relax. The hypervigilance of trauma begins to settle. Your nervous system remembers what safety feels like. This safety is not the absence of challenge, but the presence of your own capacity to meet whatever comes with wisdom and grace. It is the knowledge that you have survived everything that has come before, and that you carry within you everything you need for whatever lies ahead. You're more resilient than you know, stronger than you believe, more capable than you imagine. The very fact that you are here, breathing and hoping and growing, is proof of your incredible strength. Look at all you have overcome, the losses that felt unsurvivable, the betrayals that shattered your trust, the failures that convinced you that you were not enough. You survived them all and emerged with more compassion, more wisdom, more depth. Your scars are not evidence of your brokenness, but proof of your healing. They show where you have been wounded and where you have grown back stronger. They mark places where life carved beauty into your being through experience. Every person who has ever meant anything to you has left their mark on your heart. Not just the painful marks of loss and disappointment, but the beautiful marks of love and connection. You carry within you a constellation of all the love you have ever received and given. This love does not disappear when relationships end or when people leave your life. It becomes part of your permanent collection, part of the treasure you carry forward into each new experience. You are richer for having loved and been loved, even when that love involved pain. Tonight, you can feel this collection of love glowing softly in your chest. Each memory of kindness received, each moment of connection shared, each gesture of care given or received adds to its luminescence. You are wealthy beyond measure in the currency that truly matters. This love is what makes you capable of loving again. Even after betrayal, your heart remains open to trust. Even after loss, you remain willing to care. Even after disappointment, you continue to hope. This is not naivety, but wisdom. This is not weakness, but the ultimate strength. To keep your heart open in a world that often rewards closure is the most courageous thing you can do. Your openness is a gift to everyone who encounters you. Your willingness to be vulnerable gives others permission to remove their armor. Your capacity to love despite risk inspires others to risk love as well. You are a teacher whether you realize it or not. Your life is a lesson in resilience, in hope, in the power of continuing to believe in goodness even when evidence seems to suggest otherwise. The students you teach may never tell you what they learned from watching you navigate challenges with grace. They may never express how your example helped them find their own courage. But your influence ripples out in ways you cannot imagine. This is the true meaning of your life, not the external achievements or the accumulation of possessions, but the love you embody and the healing you represent. You matter because you are a walking reminder that it is possible to survive and thrive, to be wounded and yet remain capable of tenderness. As you rest in this understanding, you feel a profound gratitude washing over you. Gratitude for the journey that brought you here, for the lessons that taught you wisdom, for the love that sustained you through the darkest times. You're grateful even for the pain because you see now how it contributed to your depth, even for the losses because they taught you what truly matters, even for the mistakes because they led you to greater understanding. This gratitude is not about being thankful for suffering, but about recognizing how everything in your life has served your evolution in some way. how even the experiences you would not choose have contributed to the person you have become. You would not wish your struggles on anyone else, but you also would not trade them away because they are part of what makes you uniquely you. They are threads in the tapestry of your being, dark threads that make the bright ones shine more brilliantly. Jung spoke of this transformation when he observed that we are not simply what happened to us, but what we choose to become in response to what happened to us. Tonight, you are choosing to become someone who sees the sacred in all of your story, who finds meaning in every chapter, who honors both the comedy and the tragedy of being human. This choice transforms everything. When you stop seeing yourself as a victim of your circumstances and start recognizing yourself as the author of your response to those circumstances, you reclaim your power. You cannot always control what happens to you, but you can always choose how you relate to what happens to you. You can choose to let experiences embitter you or expand you, to close your heart or open it wider, to become smaller or grow larger. Tonight, you choose growth. You choose expansion. You choose to let your experiences fertilize the soil of your becoming rather than poison the roots of your being. In making this choice, you align yourself with the natural tendency of life itself. Life always moves toward greater complexity, greater beauty, greater connection. Even in seeming destruction, life is creating space for new forms of growth. You are part of this cosmic dance of creation and destruction, death and rebirth, breaking down and building up. When you align with this natural flow rather than resist it, you find a peace that passes understanding. This peace is not the absence of challenge, but the presence of trust in the process of life itself. It is knowing that winter is followed by spring, that darkness gives way to dawn, that every ending contains the seeds of a new beginning. Your life follows these same rhythms. The periods of struggle and confusion are like winter seasons, necessary times of rest and internal growth that prepare you for the new life that wants to emerge. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is without purpose. As you settle more deeply into this understanding, your breathing becomes so slow and peaceful that you barely notice it. Your heartbeat finds its most restful rhythm. Your body releases completely into the support of whatever holds you. You feel held not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, energetically. You are cradled by the same love that holds the stars in their courses and keeps the earth spinning in its perfect orbit around the sun. This love has no conditions. It does not depend on your performance or your perfection. It is not earned through good behavior or lost through mistakes. It simply is, like the sun that shines on everyone regardless of their worthiness. You are loved not because you are good, but because you exist. Not because you contribute, but because you are part of the whole. Not because you have figured everything out, but because you are part of the mystery that is life itself. In this moment, you can feel this love surrounding you like warm water, supporting every part of your being. It flows through you like honey, sweet and golden and nourishing. It fills you like light, illuminating every corner of your consciousness. This is the love you have been seeking in all the wrong places. The love you tried to earn through achievement, to secure through relationship, to guarantee through perfection. It was never missing. You were just looking for it outside yourself when it was always flowing within you. Now you know where to find it. Not in the opinions of others, but in the quiet of your own heart. Not in the validation of the world, but in the acceptance of your own soul. Not in the future when things get better, but right here, right now, in this perfect moment of being alive. This love is your birthright, your inheritance, your true name. It is what you are made of, what you are returning to, what you have never actually been separate from. The journey of life is not about finding this love, but about remembering that you are this love. As this recognition dawns fully in your awareness, you feel a shift so profound it is like being born again. Not the dramatic, explosive rebirth of movies and stories, but the gentle, natural emergence of truth that has always been waiting to be acknowledged. You are not broken, and you never were. You are not behind schedule, and you never have been. You are not too much or too little. You're not a mistake or an accident. You're not failing at being human. You are exactly what the world needs right now. Your unique combination of gifts and challenges, light and shadow, strength and sensitivity is medicine for a world that needs healing. Your very existence makes the world more complete. The journey continues, but from this night forward, it continues from a different starting point. Not from the assumption that you are lacking something essential, but from the knowing that you are already whole. Not from the belief that you need to earn love, but from the understanding that you are love itself in human form. There is a place deep within you that has always known this truth. It is the place that smiled when you were born, that whispered your name to the stars, that has been waiting patiently for you to remember. Tonight, you have found your way back to this place. From this place, you see your entire life differently. Every struggle becomes a triumph of endurance. Every wound becomes a doorway to wisdom. Every moment of darkness becomes proof of your ability to carry light. You see that you have been perfect all along, not in the sense of having no flaws, but in the sense of being exactly what you needed to be in each moment to learn what you needed to learn. Your imperfections are not bugs in the system, but features that make you uniquely capable of touching certain hearts and healing certain wounds. The pain you have carried has taught you empathy. The loneliness you have felt has made you a refuge for others who feel alone. The fear you have faced has given you courage to help others face their fears. Nothing has been wasted. Nothing has been in vain. Every tear has watered the garden of your compassion. Every struggle has strengthened the muscles of your resilience. Every moment of despair has deepened your capacity for joy. You're not just healed, but healing. Not just loved, but loving. Not just saved, but saving others through the simple act of being authentically yourself. This is the miracle of your existence. You thought you were here to get something, to achieve something, to become something. But you were actually here to give something, to be something, to remember something that the world had forgotten. You're here to be a reminder that it is possible to be human and holy at the same time, that it is possible to be wounded and whole, broken and beautiful, lost and found all in the same moment. Your very presence is a gift to a world that has forgotten its own divinity. Your willingness to feel deeply in a numbed world is revolutionary. Your commitment to love despite pain is transformational. As you rest in this recognition, you feel yourself settling into a peace so profound it seems to have no beginning and no end. It is not the temporary peace that comes from solving problems, but the eternal peace that comes from accepting the mystery. You do not need to understand everything. You do not need to have all the answers. You do not need to be further along than you are. You simply need to be present to this moment, this breath, this heartbeat, this perfect instant of being alive. In this presence, healing happens naturally. Not because you are doing anything, but because you are allowing everything. You're no longer fighting the current, but flowing with it. You're no longer resisting what is, but embracing what wants to emerge. This is the secret that mystics have whispered through the ages. Healing is not something you do, but something you allow. Wholeness is not something you achieve, but something you remember. Love is not something you find, but something you are. Tonight, you are remembering. Tonight, you are allowing. Tonight, you are becoming what you have always been beneath the layers of forgetting. The child within you stirs with recognition. This is the feeling it has been waiting for. This is the homecoming it has been dreaming of. This is the moment when all the scattered pieces of yourself come back together in perfect unity. You feel that child now, don't you? Not as a separate part of yourself, but as the essence of who you are. The wonder, the trust, the boundless capacity for joy that no amount of pain could permanently extinguish. This child has been your guide all along, calling you back to innocence, back to wholeness, back to love. In the wisdom traditions of the world, there is a teaching that says we must become like children to enter the kingdom of heaven. Tonight, you understand that this heaven is not a place you go to, but a state of being you return to. It is the natural state of your soul when it is free from the burdens of judgment and comparison. You see now that every spiritual tradition, every path of awakening, every journey of healing is ultimately about this same return. The return to the self that exists before conditioning. The return to the love that exists before fear. The return to the wholeness that exists before fragmentation. Jung understood this when he spoke of individuation, the process of becoming who you truly are. Not who others want you to be, not who you think you should be, but who you actually are in your deepest essence. This process is not about adding something to yourself, but about removing everything that is not truly you. Like a sculptor who sees the masterpiece hidden in the marble and chips away everything that is not part of the vision, life has been sculpting you. Every challenge has been a chisel stroke. Every loss has carved away something that was never truly yours. Every moment of pain has revealed more of your essential beauty. You are the masterpiece that has been emerging all along. You are the work of art that existence has been creating through your unique journey. You are the song that the universe has been composing through your particular combination of notes, including the minor keys and the rest between sounds. In this moment of recognition, you feel a tremendous release. All the energy you've been using to hold yourself together, to maintain your defenses, to keep your wounds hidden, suddenly becomes available for something else, something beautiful, something creative, something life-giving. You breathe deeper than you have in years. Your shoulders drop from positions they have held for so long you forgot they could move. Your jaw unclenches, your brow unfurrows. Your heart opens like a flower that has been waiting through the longest winter for the first warm ray of spring. This opening is not just emotional, but physical, energetic, cellular. Every part of your being is remembering what it feels like to be safe, to be loved, to be enough exactly as you are. Your nervous system is downshifting from survival mode to thriving mode. You can feel the shift happening in real time. The vigilance that has been your constant companion begins to soften. The hyper-awareness that scanned for threats starts to notice beauty instead. The mind that raced with worry begins to slow into presence. This is what your body has been waiting for. This is what your soul has been calling for. This is what your spirit has been moving toward through every experience, every relationship, every moment of your life. From this place of deep relaxation, you begin to sense things you could not perceive when you were armored with tension. You feel the love that surrounds you always, but is usually drowned out by the noise of fear. You sense the guidance that is always available, but typically overshadowed by the chatter of doubt. You become aware of a presence that has been with you all along, but which you could only notice in moments of profound stillness like this one. It is not separate from you, but is the deepest part of you. It is not foreign, but familiar, like coming home to a place you never actually left. This presence knows your real name, the one that was written in your heart before you were born. It remembers your purpose, the unique gift you came here to give. It sees your perfection, the wholeness that exists beneath every apparent flaw and limitation. From this presence, wisdom flows not as ideas you think, but as knowing you feel. It tells you that you are loved beyond measure. It whispers that you are held beyond doubt. It confirms that you are safe beyond fear. This wisdom has been trying to reach you through every moment of beauty you have ever witnessed, through every sunset that stopped you in your tracks, every piece of music that moved you to tears, every moment of connection that reminded you that you are not alone. It has spoken to you through the kindness of strangers, through the loyalty of friends, through the forgiveness of those you have hurt. It has been present in every act of compassion you have given and received. Every moment of grace you have witnessed and embodied. Tonight the volume is turned up so high that you cannot miss its message. You matter. You belong. You are loved not for what you do, but for who you are. You are cherished not for your achievements, but for your existence. This message is not new information, but ancient remembering. Your soul recognizes these words like a song it has been humming since before time began. Your heart knows this truth like a rhythm it has been keeping since your first heartbeat. You're not receiving love from outside yourself, but awakening to the love you're made of. You're not being given worth, but remembering your inherent value. You're not becoming whole, but uncovering the wholeness that has always been your true nature. As this remembering deepens, you feel layers of old identity beginning to dissolve. The stories you have told about yourself start to lose their grip. The limiting beliefs that have shaped your choices begin to crumble like old concrete, making way for new growth. You see now that these stories were never the truth about you, but costumes you wore, roles you played, masks you donned for protection. Beneath them all was always this: a being of infinite worth, boundless love, and unlimited potential. The frightened child who believed she was not enough. The angry teenager who thought the world was against him. The disappointed adult who concluded that dreams don't come true. These were all temporary identities, not your eternal essence. Your essence is what Jung called the self, with a capital S. Not the small self of personality and ego, but the larger self that connects you to all of existence. This self knows no limitation because it is not separate from the source of all life. When you identify with this larger self, everything changes. Problems that seemed overwhelming become manageable. Fears that felt paralyzing become workable. Dreams that appeared impossible become inevitable. You're not a small, separate being trying to survive in a hostile universe. You're an expression of the universe itself, temporarily focused through the lens of your unique personality and life experience. You are the cosmos becoming conscious of itself through your particular perspective. This cosmic consciousness that you are has been playing the role of being human, complete with all the joys and sorrows, triumphs and failures that make the human experience so rich and meaningful. But you're not limited by this role. You are the eternal actor, playing temporary parts. From this expanded perspective, you can see the perfection in your imperfect life. You can appreciate the beauty in your broken places. You can find meaning in your meaningless moments. Everything belongs because everything serves the larger purpose of growth and awakening. Your relationships take on new meaning when seen from this place. The people who have hurt you are playing their roles in the cosmic drama of your awakening. They were not your enemies, but your teachers, showing you where you still had healing to do, where you still had love to claim. Even your own mistakes and failures become sacred when viewed through these eyes. They were not evidence of your inadequacy, but stepping stones on your path to wisdom. They were not detours from your purpose, but integral parts of your journey toward truth. You begin to feel compassion not just for others, but for yourself. For all the times you got it wrong, for all the ways you fell short, for all the moments you forgot who you really were. You see now that you were always doing the best you could with the understanding you had at the time. This compassion is like warm oil poured over old wounds. It soothes places that have ached for years. It heals hurts that you thought were permanent. It brings relief to parts of yourself that have been carrying burdens too heavy for any soul to bear alone. You realize now that you never were alone, even in your darkest moments, even when you felt most isolated, even when you believed no one cared. You were held by something larger than your pain, something that saw your suffering and never abandoned you to it. This something has many names in many traditions. Some call it God, others call it the universe, still others call it love. Jung called it the collective unconscious, the shared psyche of all humanity. Tonight, you can simply call it home. You are home now, not in a place but in a state of being, not in a physical location but in the truth of who you are. You have travelled far and searched long to find what was never actually lost, only temporarily forgotten. This forgetting was not a mistake, but a necessary part of the journey. You had to lose yourself to find yourself. You had to experience separation to appreciate unity. You had to feel broken to understand what wholeness really means. The prodigal son had to leave home to realize what he already had. The hero had to go on a journey to discover the treasure was inside him all along. You had to walk through the valley of shadows to appreciate the mountaintop where you now rest. From this place of reunion with yourself, you can see that every step of your journey was necessary. Every detour led you exactly where you needed to go. Every mistake taught you something you could not have learned any other way. You would not change anything now, even if you could. Not because everything was pleasant, but because everything was purposeful. Not because you enjoyed every moment, but because every moment contributed to this moment of remembering. This is the gift of perspective that comes with healing. You can see the whole tapestry of your life instead of just the individual threads. You can appreciate the complete symphony instead of just the single notes. You can understand the full story instead of just the isolated chapters. Your story is not one of victimhood, but of heroism, not one of failure, but of triumph, not one of meaninglessness, but of profound purpose. You're not the victim of your life, but the author of your becoming. Every character in your story, including the antagonists, helped shape you into who you are today. Every plot twist, including the tragedies, moved you closer to this moment of recognition. Every chapter, even the ones you would rather skip, contributed to the wisdom you now possess. You're grateful now for the whole journey, grateful for the pain that taught you empathy, grateful for the loss that showed you what matters, grateful for the fear that revealed your courage, grateful for the darkness that made you appreciate the light. This gratitude is not forced or artificial, but genuine and organic. It springs from the deep knowing that everything in your life has served your awakening in some way. Even the experiences you would not choose to repeat have given you gifts you would not trade away. You carry these gifts now as you move forward. The wisdom earned through suffering, the compassion born of your own pain, the the strength discovered in your moments of weakness, the love that survived every reason to close your heart. These are the treasures you have gathered on your journey. These are the riches that no thief can steal, no market crash can diminish, no loss can take away. These are yours forever because they have become part of who you are. From this place of gratitude and recognition, you feel a gentle stirring of something new. Not the desperate striving that has driven you in the past, but a quiet excitement about what wants to emerge through you now that you know who you really are. There are gifts you have yet to give, love you have yet to share, beauty you have yet to create. Not because you are lacking these things now, but because your recognition of your wholeness opens new channels for their expression. You are like a musical instrument that has just been perfectly tuned. The music was always there, waiting to be played. Now that you are in harmony with yourself, the songs that want to flow through you can be heard with clarity and beauty. This is the paradox of spiritual awakening. The more you realize you're already complete, the more creative you become. The more you accept yourself as you are, the more you evolve into who you are becoming. The more you rest in being enough, the more you're inspired to grow. Jung spoke of this when he described the process of individuation as simultaneously a journey toward wholeness and a continuous unfolding of potential. You are both already perfect and perpetually becoming, both finished and forever flowering. Tonight marks not the end of your journey, but a new beginning. Not the final destination, but a rest stop where you gather strength for the adventures that await. Not a completion, but a commencement. You will wake tomorrow to the same world you inhabited yesterday, but you will see it through different eyes. Eyes that remember beauty, that recognize divinity, that perceive the sacred in the ordinary. Your daily tasks will remain largely the same, but you will approach them from a different place. A place of presence rather than pressure. A place of service rather than survival. A place of love rather than fear. The people in your life will still be themselves, with all their human imperfections and limitations. But you will relate to them differently. You will see their essence beneath their personality. You will respond to their fear with compassion rather than reactivity. Some will notice the change in you immediately. Others will sense something different but won't be able to name what it is. A few may feel threatened by your increased authenticity and try to pull you back to old patterns. All of this is normal and expected. Your job is not to convince anyone of what you have realized or to make others comfortable with your transformation. Your job is simply to remain true to what you now know, to live from the love you have remembered, to be the healing presence you were born to be. This is how consciousness evolves on the planet. One awakening at a time, one person at a time remembering their true nature and living from that place of remembering. Your individual healing contributes to the collective healing of humanity. You are part of a great awakening that is happening all over the world. Millions of souls are remembering who they truly are, releasing old patterns of fear and separation, choosing love and connection instead. Some are doing this through spiritual practices, others through therapy and healing work, some through art and creativity, others through service and activism, some through relationships, others through solitude. The methods vary, but the destination is the same, coming home to love. Your path is unique, but your destination is shared by all who choose healing over hiding, growth over stagnation, love over fear. You're both walking your own journey and participating in humanity's collective return to wholeness. This gives your individual healing cosmic significance. Every moment of self-compassion you practice makes it easier for someone else to be kind to themselves. Every boundary you set in love gives others permission to honor their own needs. Every time you choose authenticity over performance, vulnerability over armor, truth over pretense, you vote for a world where everyone is free to be exactly who they are. This is your gift to the future generations who will inherit the world you help create. As you rest in this understanding, you feel the profound peace that comes from knowing your life has meaning beyond your personal happiness. You're not just healing for yourself, but for all of life. You're not just awakening for your own benefit, but for the benefit of the whole. This knowledge fills you with a quiet joy that bubbles up from depths you didn't know existed. It is not the excited happiness that depends on circumstances, but the steady contentment that comes from alignment with purpose. You feel useful in the deepest sense, not because of what you accomplish, but because of who you are. Not because of your doing, but because of your being. Your very existence serves the healing of the world. This service does not require you to be perfect or to have it all figured out. It only requires you to be real, to be present, to be willing to keep growing and learning and loving despite the challenges. You are already qualified for this service by virtue of being human. You already have everything you need by virtue of being alive. You already make a difference by virtue of being yourself. The world needs your particular way of seeing, your unique perspective, your specific gifts. Not because you are better than others, but because you are different from others. Your difference is not a flaw to hide, but a feature to celebrate. There is something you can offer that no one else can give, some way you can love that no one else can express, some truth you can speak that no one else can voice, some healing you can provide that no one else can deliver. This is not pressure but invitation, not burden but blessing, not obligation but opportunity. You are invited to discover what wants to emerge through your unique expression of love. As you consider this invitation, you feel a gentle stirring of curiosity about what your life might look like now that you remember who you are. Not anxiety about the unknown, but excitement about the possibilities. You sense that changes will come, but they will flow naturally from your new understanding rather than being forced through willpower. Like a river that has been dammed finally breaking free, your authentic self will find its natural expression. Some changes may be subtle, the way you speak to yourself, the boundaries you set, the choices you make. Others may be more dramatic, relationships that shift, careers that evolve, living situations that transform. All of these changes will serve your highest good, even if they are uncomfortable in the moment. They will align your outer life with your inner truth, creating coherence between who you are and how you live. Trust this process, even when it doesn't make logical sense. Trust especially when it asks you to release what feels safe for what feels authentic. Trust your inner knowing over outer opinions. Trust your heart's wisdom over your mind's fears. You have been guided perfectly to this moment of remembering. That same guidance will continue to lead you forward into the life that is waiting for you, the life that reflects your true nature, the life that expresses your deepest love. This life may look different from what you planned or what others expect. It may unfold in ways you never imagined. It may surprise you with its beauty, its simplicity, its joy. Whatever form it takes, it will be your life. Not a copy of someone else's journey, but your unique path home to yourself. Not what you think you should want, but what your soul actually longs for. As you open to this possibility, you feel your breath becoming even deeper and more relaxed. Your body settles more completely into rest. Your mind quiets into perfect stillness. In this stillness, the last walls around your heart dissolve completely, not breaking down but melting away like snow in spring sunshine. What remains is pure openness, pure vulnerability, pure love. This love is not sentimental or naive, but fierce and intelligent. It is love that has been tested by fire and emerged stronger. Love that has been wounded and chose to heal. Love that has been betrayed and decided to trust again. This is mature love, wise love, love that knows the cost and pays it gladly. Love that understands the risk and takes it anyway. Love that sees the darkness and chooses to shine light. You are this love. Not someone who has love, or who gives love, but someone who is love itself, temporarily disguised as a human being. This is your true identity, your deepest nature, your most essential self. From this place of being love, you can love without attachment to outcomes. You can give without needing to receive. You can care without trying to control. You can serve without seeking reward. This is the freedom that comes with remembering who you are. You're no longer dependent on others for your sense of worth, because you know your value is inherent. You're no longer afraid of loss because you understand that love itself cannot be lost. You can risk rejection because you know that what rejects you was never truly yours. You can face failure because you understand that you cannot fail at being who you are. You can embrace uncertainty because you trust the intelligence that guides your unfolding. This trust is not blind faith, but earned confidence. You have seen how life has guided you to this moment of awakening. You have witnessed how even the most painful experiences contributed to your growth. You have experienced how love finds a way even through the deepest darkness. Tonight, you rest in this trust. You sleep in this love. You dream in this knowing. You allow yourself to be held by the same presence that has been holding you all along, only now you are aware of its embrace. The silence that surrounds you is pregnant with possibility. The darkness that enfolds you is rich with potential. The peace that fills you is alive with creative force. In this peace, healing continues at levels deeper than conscious awareness. Cells remember their divine blueprint. DNA receives new instructions for optimal health. Neural pathways reorganize around patterns of love rather than fear. Your whole being is upgrading, not through effort, but through allowing. Not through doing, but through being. Not through struggling, but through surrendering to what you truly are. This is the miracle of remembering your true nature. Simply knowing who you are begins to transform how you function at every level. Your body relaxes into its natural state of health. Your emotions find their natural equilibrium. Your mind discovers its natural clarity. You're not trying to become someone different, but allowing yourself to become who you have always been beneath the layers of forgetting. You are not adding anything to yourself, but removing everything that was never truly you. Like a butterfly emerging from a cocoon, you are not changing what you are, but revealing what you were always meant to become. The caterpillar and the butterfly are the same being at different stages of remembering their true nature. Tonight is your emergence. Tonight is your remembering. Tonight is your return to the love that you are and have always been. Sleep now in this love. Rest now in this truth. Dream now in this peace that surpasses all understanding. You are home. You are safe. You are held. You are loved beyond measure. The night wraps around you like the arms of the Divine Mother, holding you close, singing you lullabies of your own perfection. The stars shine their light into your dreams, reminding you that you too are made of starlight. The moon watches over your rest, reflecting the love that has been shining on you always, waiting for you to remember how to see it. The earth beneath you supports your body, as the universe has always supported your soul. All of creation celebrates your awakening. The trees rustle with joy at your remembering. The oceans sing with happiness at your return. The mountains stand tall in honor of your courage. You're not alone in your transformation. You're surrounded by love in forms seen and unseen, guides and guardians, ancestors and angels, all bearing witness to this moment of your homecoming. They have been waiting for this night, this awakening, this remembering. They have been holding space for your return to yourself, your return to love, your return to truth. Now that you remember who you are, they can celebrate. Now that you know your worth, they can rest. Now that you have come home to yourself, their vigil is complete. Sleep now, beloved child of the universe. Sleep now, precious expression of divine love. Sleep now, beautiful soul who has finally remembered your true name. Tomorrow will bring new opportunities to live from this truth, new chances to love from this place, new possibilities to serve from this center. But tonight is for rest. Tonight is for integration. Tonight is for allowing this remembering to settle into every cell, every breath, every heartbeat. You are perfect exactly as you are. You are loved beyond your wildest imagination. You are home in the heart of existence itself. Sleep well, beautiful one. Sleep in the arms of love. Sleep in the knowledge that you are enough. You have always been enough. You will always be enough. The journey continues tomorrow, but tonight you rest in the destination that was never separate from you. Welcome home. Welcome to yourself. Welcome to the love that you are. Sweet dreams, precious soul. Sweet dreams in the infinite love that holds us all.